still going with the shotting pattern theme that we're on. Next thing we want to focus on is shallow rigs.
Yes, please.
We can do it. This
I've had no
Anders.
influence whatsoever on this one, folks. I promise you, it's all Jay's doing.
Well, it's summer in it. It's still summer.
Oh,
so
yeah.
first one we've done the margins. Next one it is shallow rigs, isn't it?
Definitely.
And there's such a mass plethora like that one.
What is he on about, folks? Honestly, Jay.
Is that right?
Was that 2 words combined?
Plethora. A plethora is like a
I thought I was a dinosaur. Or was that a plesiosaur?
lots, isn't it? Same
Potatoes.
sort of thing. Anyway, there's lots of different ways of shotting.
Somewhere in it.
Your shallow
T-shirts and
rigs.
shorts.
Sit there. Come
What
on,
are you on
with
about?
it.
We're on about fishing.
Shallow
Go on, Jay.
fishing. Shallow fishing.
I like shallow fishing, folks. I love
on.
shallow fishing.
So what we want to break it down to, there's pretty much 2 ways, or 2 basic ways you got to look at shallow fishing. There's either, for me, it's F1s and eyed,
Yeah.
and silvers, or carp.
Don't forget chub.
Well, they're in the F1s and eyed. There's the
Chub.
the delicate, clever shallow
Yes.
fishing
Yeah.
that you can go through first.
Yeah.
And then there's the carp type fishing.
So I get the
Quite
like the
different.
clever species, do you? And you get the like the funny species, the ones like, oh, I'm here, put a rig in front of me.
Yeah.
But to be fair, you've got to do it right, which you can go into later.
Yes.
So anyway, onto the best form of shallow fishing in the world ever. So,
Go on.
I mean, I've talked about this rig so many times. Any like videos that I've done or, you know, features that I've done, I've talked about this rig. This rig is the best rig in the world. I'm not showing it you. No, basically, so nice light float. Ideally, you don't want a float that takes any more than, I'm saying 4 number 11s, ideally 3 number 11s. Now,
The resistance is important, is that why?
it's massive, Jay. Yeah, it's how, but also that it's following your bait through the water. You know, float stem choice as well, glass or a carbon, pretty thick one as well, so that it can, when you slap that rig over, it's following your bait through the water. The worst thing in the world is for you to put your pole tip right over your float, so your float settles straight away. All you're getting then is like an arc, a curve in your line. You're just not going to see the bites quick enough.
I'm with you. So with this style of shotting,
Yeah.
having the right stem afloat means that it
Oh, it's
works
massive,
all
man.
in unison.
It's so good. I mean, it's difficult some days when it's really windy and it's wanting to blow your pole tip over your float. That's the other little thing as well. I know we should be on about shotting patterns, but check which way the wind's going. So like left to right, you slap it that way so the wind's blowing your float against your pole tip. Does that make sense? You know what I mean, don't you? So
Yeah,
if the wind's going
upwind.
that way, you slap it that way. So the wind's blowing your float where you're keeping your pole tip here. If it's going the other way, you slap it the opposite way.
Yeah.
Am I making sense? You understand me, don't you, Rich? He's not saying anything, folks, but yeah, he does. Anyway, back to the shotting. Depth-wise, I mean, this will be my tester rig, so, and then I'll show you the shotting pattern for when you have got them at a certain depth. But my tester rig to start with, so you're seeing fish there, you're slapping this rig over. Basically, if your float's in that angle, you know you're fishing too deep and you're missing bites, so that's when you've got to shallow up. So I'll start bringing this float down to that first shot. If I'm still missing bites, that's when you go over to a little mini bulk.
Yeah.
So basically, go on, mate.
By having a strung out shotting pattern with a little diddy float, we've strung out 10
Number
to 11.
11s.
So
11s,
a nice
mate.
slow fall.
Yeah.
What you're giving them there is when they're feeding whatever species,
Oh,
it looks sexy, doesn't it, falling? That's
Yeah.
the sexy.
It's natural.
You find the fish, don't you, with that
yeah,
one?
definitely.
They can be very tricky to hook
Hit.
because of the
Especially,
slackness.
it's that, Jay, but if the wind's wrong as well, it's not too bad if it's calm, as long as it's sort of overcast, obviously. But if it's calm, you can really focus on keeping that tight line. If anything, Jay, I'll come the opposite way and go even longer and put back shots on it. You know, like you do for like winter roach fishing or ice
so you
fishing.
can hold back really tight on
That
it.
works really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, for this style of summer fishing, you will start to miss bites on this rig, and that's when you come to more of a, you're getting that in. I mean, obviously, these are only tiny shots. These would be like, what are we saying, 5 or 6 number 10s or something like that, or even, you know, 5 or 6 number 8s, you know, if they're getting really difficult to hit. Not overshotted, folks, by the way, completely. You got your bristle or your little dibber showing at all times. I don't advocate overshotting whatsoever. But yeah, no, it's one of them. Obviously, if you're allowed to do it, then you can't beat it. You get them at that depth, you can't beat it. But shotting patterns for this, obviously, when you're slapping that rig over, it goes the opposite way then. You want to put your pole tip right over your float and hold a tight line, and the fish hook themselves.
Yeah.
We covered it, didn't we? You know that when I put loads of bait in on
Panama.
moors and you were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Andrew.
More, sorry, yeah.
We caught all them eyes and everything, and we started off on this rig, started missing bites, went on the dibber one, and like it was instant, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's so much better, because for me, my misconception with shallow fishing was I used to be obsessed with the slow, sexy fall. I used to think that was the most important thing, which on a tricky day and when they're feeding in certain ways, it's the right way of getting the most bites. But the way that F1s in particular feed, you don't want that slow fall, you just want that fixed bulk at the right depth, isn't it? That's the most important thing, is finding the right depth.
I was always so stubborn, Jay, and just setting like, no, you only need like 1-2 top kits at the most. But mate, I've just completely changed my attitude on that now.
Yeah.
You need 4, 5, sometimes 6 top kits from like depths ranging from like inches, which seems to be where the F1s are having it at the minute. You're not even seeing them swirl.
Yeah,
but you're just like, you go that deep and like, what's going on? It's ridiculous, isn't it? You're like, pokers, up to like, what we're saying, 2.5, 3 foot. Don't really go any deeper than that.
No, 2.5 foot to about 3 foot.
But that's when you just like put loads of shots on and just like check what depth they're at.
Yes, but there's those two basic F1 shotting, like say your strung out shottings for finding them.
Yeah.
If needed.
Yeah.
On that sort of day, and then your bulk is for suspending it at that specific depth for when they come up and they're turning, because that's how they feed, don't they? They don't hang about like this.
No.
The F1s come up from below and go down. So whatever the point they're turning over, that's the depth you need to be, and that alters throughout the day. Definitely. So you may as well have that fixed bulk to hold it there, so you see the bites better. Yeah, that's.
And it's being, obviously, this is what sorts the better anglers out. It's being quick to change. You know, obviously, you know how quick you get in the bites when the fishing's shallow. As soon as you go, what we're saying, 40 seconds, not even that sometimes, without a bite, you know they change depth, and they can literally be a couple of inches deeper, can't they? So where that shoals swimming round, go to your next rig.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're not getting bites, folks, go deeper. If you're getting them but missing them, it just comes shallower.
I have a 2-bite rule. If missed 2 for a shallow rig on.
Is that what you're on?
Yeah.
I'm on 4.
Do you?
1 in 4,
and
that's it, I'm changing.
Then you're coming off a little bit, yeah. No, I like that. That's F1 shallow, nice and simple. Pretty much, other than we're not going to go down the jigger rigs and all that. That would be here for days. So when it comes to carpy fishing, I've got rid of my rig hand. Where's my rig gone?
Have I kicked it off?
We've loose fed my rig somewhere.
Is this it here? Here it is, mate. You've studied on it.
I found him. I've launched
Go
him.
ahead.
So with carp fishing, completely different game altogether when it comes to shallow fishing. In that you don't need. The importance of a tight line isn't there as much as it is with F1s.
How often have you got it like when you like go to flick your rig out and you just see a massive swirl or a bow wave and like, oh God, and then next thing you see is elastic. It's like striking. You don't even need it.
Yeah, so carp for me, that there's pretty much 2 ways of shallow fishing. There's either slapping, in which case I simply have exactly the same sort of rig as what I'm holding now. It'd be a rig about that length.
Yeah.
Yeah, set to whatever depth I think the fish are feeding at, but again with carp, they're not the same. They don't come up and feed.
No.
They hover, they loiter, and they just hang
sort
there.
of like should I, shouldn't I, yeah. No, I'm not. And then that's
Definitely.
it. Whereas yours, it's like, I'm having it.
It is. They just go straight for it. But they don't come up and down so much in the water, carp.
No.
They're either shallow or they're not.
Don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of your carp fishing is within the top 2 foot the most, isn't it?
100%.
As well, that's where when you're fishing among your bait, that's how they're going to feed. So either have my slapping rig, which is just a case of quite a much longer hook length than what you'd have for your F1 fishing.
So you're getting like them 3 plops.
You know literally, you're getting your pellet, your bulk, and your flow. It's making that lovely splash.
You're basically mimicking your bait going in, Jay, with that, aren't you?
Exactly that, man. Yeah. Really, really simple. But I'm not too adverse to, if I need to, I get that bulk up the equation.
just well, we're
if I don't like it,
I'm not used to, and I'm not liking, folks, these big words he's using today.
Right. The importance of that tight line so isn't as important. So on some days when they're being a bit moody, I get rid of my bulk. So happily put my bulk underneath. I'll still fish the same sort of depth, but with carp fishing, I've got no problem of putting my bulk right under my float, because I'm going to be fishing a bigger, heavier bait. It helps keep that line a little bit tight to show me bites up, but it gives it a nicer fall, which is more important with carp.
Yeah,
I mean, a fall with carp.
I mean, you wouldn't necessarily go anywhere like that for F1s, would you? Because
you miss every bite.
Yeah.
Or you wouldn't even see a bite, would you? Imagine that with an F1.
Like all the way down. Says, right, come on.
You've missed 27 bites by the time that settles an F1. Carp, you don't have to worry about it. They have it so much better. But yeah, a basic rig like that, I mean, does all of my carp fishing. The only thing that changes is the length of line between my float and my pole for if I want to start slapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that bulk, as I say, depending on how I want it to sink, I can either have it as a slapping rig.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, or I use exactly the same sort of things as a mugging rig.
Yeah.
And I just simply slide my bulk right underneath.
Versatile, mate.
That does the job.
Like that, Jay.
I mean, real simple.
It used to be like slapping was key for carp, and obviously, you still catch a few in it now, but I think it's been far better pinging and then fishing past it, hasn't it, for carp?
Yeah.
It's mad how much that's like improved my carp fishing over the last couple of years.
Yeah, the slapping, I think they know what it is, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can slap againds things like lily beds, like I had the other day.
Yes.
But open water.
Yeah.
digger on the back of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like nice swinging rig, but same bulks. With
I like
carp
that.
fishing, it's all bulk.
Shotting, we've not even mentioned the shotting. I use shots or stots.
I'm weird. I like.
I suppose when you're moving it all the time,
type.
I'm going to say stots are probably better, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whereas I like shots, but they can sometimes damage your line or they'll ping off. But I just can't be dealing with the fact that they're moving all the time with stots.
Yeah.
But something like that.
If it was strung out, I'd be
rig.
the same. I can't handle stots strung out.
Yeah.
I mean, cubey type things are only for when it's a solid bulk.
Because you're moving it, you're potentially moving it a lot, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I like
yeah,
that,
a lot. Every time I move my float, I may move my bulk with it, and it's just like no damage. It just keeps everything nice.
Yeah, I like that. Whereas if you look at mine, it's you're not even looking at mine. It may or may not be creased.
But no, as your basics, I mean, for all your shallow fishing, whether it's carp or F1s, by sticking to them 3 rigs,
Yeah.
that'll generally cover everything on it.
It will, Jay, but if all else fails, just stick 18 number 8s on and just overshot it.
And wiggle your pot. Not good.